Etham Yates,
Yeah,
CF17 in Mansfield.
Yeah, man.
So I'm from Chesterfield, as you know. Mansfield and Chesterfield have this like back and forth about, I don't know, it seems football related. Like they all like to call each other scabs, and there's this rivalry. I don't really participate in it, but like I'm just me being over in Mansfield could be like frowned upon by my Chesterfield contingent. So
massive.
How did you end up in Mansfield anyway?
I didn't even know Mansfield existed. Lived in Nottingham. Needed to buy a house. Put in Rightmove, my budget, and then list of houses come up, and Mansfield. Mansfield was there.
So
it was
more luck than judgment, I guess.
Yeah, it was Mansfield. Funny enough, Mansfield, Chesterfild, and then I think the other cheapest place to live was like Newcastle way. But obviously, I wasn't trekking out there.
It's cold up there anyway. So I don't know if you saw our last guest show with Elliot, but we started a new feature whereby we ask a guest to leave a question for the next guest. It can be anything about anything. And Elliot from Project, which I think you'll probably have a comment on, his question was, what is your biggest pet peeve when you walk in the gym?
I have many, being quite stuck in my ways. But it's funny enough, Elliot probably thinks very similar. In fact, I'm sure he did mention his about the wall balls.
Yeah.
Again, so what I've done, all the barbells were together. And when you say go and get a barbell, there's a big bottleneck and it takes members ages to get a barbell. So I separated the barbells, 15 over that side, 20s over that side. And then members sometimes put the barbells back in the, like, they're all 20s, they're 15s. And it's like, I've now actually color coded like where the plates go. So the red plates go with the red bar. And it's like, why is that green plate with the 20s? Again, so it's just stuff not being put back where they are. That's just, it just blows my mind how you wouldn't put it back with all the other ones.
Or how you found it.
or I found it.
Right. So that's a good answer to it. So what we'll do at the end, we'll get you to come up with a question to leave for our next guest. Not entirely sure who that is yet, but it can be anything from, don't have to be gym related, it can be anything. We'll just put them on the spot, throw them under the bus.
Okay. That one.
So before we crack on to your fitness journey, one of the things I've heard people ask you before, and I know it comes up a lot because it's the size of your guns and quads probably don't help, but is natty or not? It's steroids.
Natty
Everyone's like,
not.
oh, he's juiced up, he's this, he's that. So I'm just going to ask it because like I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to all them people if I didn't. So what, natty or not?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not?
No, natty.
I've only got a fucking groundbreaking sit.
For me, people think I'm big. Personally, this is my excuse. I've been training probably since I was about 16, maybe 15, like religiously, probably less since I've owned the gym, but I've been training 3 times a day sometimes, which is massively overtraining, don't get me wrong, but religiously for like nearly 14 years. I'm not that big for someone that's been training for 14 years. Like I know someone who is on gear, and they've trained for 6 months and they're double my size. And I'm just like, how do people think I'm on gear when he's on gear and he's like double my size? And I like to try and prove people wrong with my fitness. It's like, well, I would like to say I'm fitter than I'm stronger. And to be fair, in that pharmaceutical world, I'm not that educated. But as far as I'm aware, if you take gear, you're going to slow down. And I like to think I'm fitter than I am stronger.
I'd say that absolutely. Having watched you train and the reason we're doing this today and not Sunday just gone was because I trained with you and tried to keep up with you guys in a workout and nearly died. So yeah, I don't think your burpee speed correlates to someone that's juiced up, to be honest. I think you're probably right with that.
Yeah, and you say my biggest thing, I'm like, well, if I'm on gear, one, like, I want my money back because I'm not that strong. And 2, I train for like fitness more than strength. It's just the big chunk of bodybuilding I've done in the middle. And I stopped bodybuilding because I couldn't keep up with the big lads. Like I was never gonna match them for size because I spent loads of years in the military where I did get drug tested. Some people say it doesn't test for steroids. I wasn't about to risk my career to find out. Yeah. And I thought, well, I can't keep up with the bodybuilders, so I'm going to find something else I can do.
Fair play. So you talked about them being like you've been training for 14 years. So that nicely puts us onto your sort of fitness journey. So what does that look like? So you started training 14 years ago. What spurred you on to start training initially?
I used to go to school in Southwell. Southminster, Southwell, wherever you're from.
Is that rough, is it?
No, it's posh.
Oh.
That was like, it's very posh.
I don't know why I just assumed it'd be rough because you went there, mate.
No, it's very posh. And it's about an hour bus journey home. And if you miss the first bus, well, if you're on the bus, you're standing up. And I didn't want to stand up. So come year 10, maybe end of year 9, year 10, I got fed up with standing up on the bus because I was the last stop coming out of Southwell. So we had a leisure centre next to our school. I used to go in there, miss the first bus, go around all the plate loaded machines, just 3-4 sets of each one, and then go catch the next bus. Did that for like a year, and all of a sudden, people noticed. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just killing an hour for the next bus. And then people were, oh, you're quite big. And then when I got to like year 10, year 11, people were like, oh, he's been held back a few years. He should be like a sixth former. Look how big he is. And all I used to do was circle the plate loaded machines. And then because I noticed year 11, I started putting in a bit of size. I then got a bench in my room. Nights I wasn't allowed out. Used to be a bit of a naughty lad. I would just sit in my room. I sit in my room and bench and curl until mum says dinner time. And then I would just go and eat and then come back and just curl and bench because it's all I seen. Yeah. And then that led me on to, I started doing some security, just door work. Then you start knocking around with some big lads. And then at that stage, I went to college and started educating myself because I've got something going for me. And it just like spurred from there. So it was just, luckily, I just didn't want to stand up on the bus for an hour.
So it was born out of not being wanting to be dormant, I guess, and stagnant on a bus, but then obviously you've used that to your advantage. So how did you then sort of go from there and find CrossFit, or did the military come first and then you find CrossFit? Because I know a lot of people find CrossFit in the military, but which way around was it for you?
So for me, it was, I found CrossFit. Some people may know him, Andy Ward, absolute legend. He was the first owner of CrossFit Nottingham. He was an ex-Marine. He opened up his own box in Nottingham, and then I got advice to go and see him because he could teach me how to climb a rope. Yeah. So I started doing CrossFit to go into basic training. Went into basic training, passed out, and then...
So basic training, let's just circle back on that then, because I wanted to talk about your military. So basic training for what? What branch of the military? Marines.
Yeah.
Right.
So joined the Marines, and then all the bootnecks, what we call Marines, they were like, what are you doing CrossFit for? Let's get massive. And just chew dumbbells. And I was like, and there's me like doing box jumps and power cleans and flailing around on a rig. This was way back in like 2010 maybe.
So when CrossFit only just started to get rolling.
And back then it was like, what are you doing? You're an idiot. And I was like, yeah, what am I doing? I'm an idiot. Like, let's go and get massive. So then for a big chunk of my time in the Marines, I just did strength training. And then CrossFit come back on the scene. I remember I went to train with my mate, and there was in a class, and a little girl, probably about 2 stone wet through, absolutely handed me my arse. And it was running, box jumps and deadlifts. I remember like it was this morning. And I was like, why have I just been humiliated by that little
you saw that workout, you saw deadlifts and were like, right, I'm about to put this
but even then, like, I was strong, I could still bench. I was the biggest I've ever been. And I thought, right, I'm going to show you what it's all about. I thought I was fit because we used to run in the Corps. And then after that, just that feeling I got, and I just got a massive, like, humbling wake-up call, like, mate, you're rubbish. Like, I was like, I've just had my arse handed to me. And that was me when I thought I was in good shape.
Yeah.
And then I just did a complete 360. And I thought, you know what, like, I'm so far behind the curve. And then I just...
Is that when you decided you wanted to be fit rather than strong then?
Well, yeah. And then I just thought, well, I'm already strong. Let's get fit. So then I kind of like started incorporating it, and then that was when CrossFit was coming back onto the scene.
Yeah.
And then because I always had an interest in training and teaching and coaching, I had my PT level 3 by now. Started educating myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
Then I went down the strength and conditioning route rather than just the normal traditional personal training. And yeah, and then I just ran away with it. I thought, you know what, I really like what CrossFit stands for and how they train and how I can tick all the boxes. And then, yeah, just haven't really looked back since.
Yeah. So I found it strange that people in the military want to be big as well. You know, because it's like, you're literally going to get shot at. The bigger you are, the more body they've got to shoot at. Like, I think you'd want to be like smaller and fitter, I guess. But but then you want to be intimidating looking
as
well.
I think that's more it. I think you just want to go out and look bigger than the average Joe. And the thing is with CrossFit is like anyone that comes into my gym now, I don't judge them. Like I don't care how small you look. It's like I've seen people like do the delivery bloke come in the other day. And he come in, he's sort of like, can I do some muscle ups? And I was like, crack on, mate. He jumps on and he's doing muscle ups. He's jumping over the bar and like proper like bar stars, calisthenic stuff. And I'm like, wow. And I just thought he was just some, I'm like, mate, if you want to crack on, like,
sound this waiver, mate. I don't want you getting it.
And then I was just like, wow, that I just wasn't expecting it at all. And it's when you see a member, I'm like, I'm not judging you. You might tell me you're not fit. I will go to a gym that don't know me, and I will say I'm not fit. I would say I do a little bit of training until I see it. Like, I'm kind of like.
He said that to me on Sunday. You're like, I don't know how I'm going to get on in this workout. I'm not that fit at the moment. I'm like, right, you're not fit. It's still better than my fit. So can we just like stop this shit because I'm about to get killed on these burpees.
But again, like with it, I just like with one-to-ones that I have, like, but you can't really define like what is fit because am I comparing myself to an elite level athlete or am I comparing myself to someone that just goes to the gym 3 times a week?
Yeah, I think you can only, with fitness, you can only ever compare yourself to you, can't you? So when you say you're not that fit at the moment, you're talking about your level at your highest peak. And I think that's a good thing to call out, isn't it? Because fitness takes many forms, but the ultimate core of it is you. Like, fitness is yours. It's no one else's. If you get better tomorrow than you were today, then you've got fitter, and that's all that matters. Doesn't matter if you're still not as fit as this person or that person, because everyone has a different life, everyone has different schedules, everyone has different training plans. As long as you're getting fitter than you were yesterday, that's what we want.
And that's the biggest thing. And it's a case of like with your circle of friends. So me being involved in Defiant, like, I mean, I feel under pressure. Like you've got like Tom, absolute, weapon. You've got
make sure you name
Joe.
them all now, mate. Or you
no, but Joe, obviously, like you've got those up there, and it's like when you've got like Sammy and Georgie snatching more than me, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm horrendous. And then I've got to go share a dance floor and try and compete with him.
Anything to say about Matt? He's the only one you haven't mentioned.
I mean, Matt, he's.
Are you happy that you're better than him?
No, I mean, but like me and Matt, like we're at a level, like we're just here to mentor now. We're just.
Well, and you are the stalwarts, so like I think you two. You were my first 2 ambassadors that we set on back in 2019. I don't know which one of you came first because I met you at CrossFit Grimsby, met Matt online, and it was so close together. So I can't remember, but like that was, like I say, 2019. So you're our oldest or longest serving, and still with us, and we love it. And like you've been part of the growth, and then seeing you then go on your own personal journey, like and being close to that has been like inspirational for all of us because. For those that don't know, watching, you've obviously recently acquired CrossFit 17. That was an established gym in Mansfield, as we talked about. So what was that like? In fact, I guess start it with what was your driver? Why did you want to do it? And then we can go into the nuances of it.
Well, I wanted to leave the military. Spent 13 years in the military, and my only way out, I was a PTI, finished as a PTI.
What's that, sorry?
Physical trainer instructor. So I was the guy that screamed and shouted at you.
So you got the Marines fit? Was that your
job? So I transferred to the Navy. So again, we have posted.
Can we just stop there? Navy.
I've
seen you try and swim. When you nearly drowned at NEC. Don't you have to swim to be at Navy?
No.
No?
We've got warships.
Yeah, but what if you fall off?
Then everyone's fucking drowned in. If you get a warship, the warships aren't close to the shore. Like, if you...
So basically, it doesn't matter if you can swim or not, you're drowning anyway.
Yeah,
so.
if a ship goes down, you're pretty much dead.
I just thought it might be one at tests they did. Like,
they do a test.
It's just like... Not
test.
That difficult then.
Funny story, I passed my test, to be fair. So, you go to Normandy in your basic training, and I was on my last chance to... If I didn't basically pass the swim test, while the troop went... to this trip, I was getting back troops, kicked out, whatever. So it's my last chance, and I thought, I'm just going out, I'm getting shiters, like, I can't pass. You've got webbing, rifle, you're in all your gear, jump off board, swim out and back, tread water, hand it all off.
How far roughly is that swimming?
I think it's only 50, 25 out, 25 meters out, 25 back.
That's a lot in gear though, in clothes.
It is, yeah. And the thing is that, again, I'm just not a great swimmer, I've always been quite dense. Anyway, so I went out night before. I was like, it's not happening. Following day, I've woke up, still shiters. And then before that, I'm on the end of the board. And I thought, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I should just tell him I've failed. And in the end, jumped off, swam out, swam back. I'm doing it. I'm literally still drunk doing it. managed to pass my webbing out, got my rifle off, gave him that, and I'm like, this is actually happening. And yeah, I managed to fluke it.
Well, it's not you did it. I guess in that moments, that's kind of cool though. Like, it's like, I'm not going to say it was just because you were drunk, but with that mindset of like, I'll just do it. I'll see what happens. And that's, so many people miss opportunities or don't achieve something because even when they convince themselves they can't do it, and then rather than try, they just, you know what I mean? It'd been easy for you to go, I can't do this, I'll not bother. You thought, fuck it, I'll jump in, I'm going to try. And then you do it. It's like...
And that's it. It's like a bit of confidence juice, you know, get a couple of pints down, yeah? And that's it. I was on the top of the board, like, still swearing. I thought, I definitely shouldn't be here. Yeah, but jumped off and passed it, and that was it. Apart from that always has been the biggest flaw. I mean, many of you have seen the antics that happened.
Mate, at NEC, like, you know what, I was that worried, I almost stopped laughing at one point, like, you know what I mean? That's how worried I was. But that was good. But I think, like, you know, swimming after that many thrusters in such a short space of time is probably a little bit more difficult than I give it credit for. But it was a defining moment in your Defiant career, I believe.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And I can honestly, I don't think I've been swimming since. I don't even think, and again, swimming's not something I do. It's like, I know it's like overhead squats. Everyone knows I can't overhead squat. Am I bothered? No, I'll just fight it and try and do it when the time comes.
Yeah, but maybe next time then just don't try and swim.
I know, but then it's like when you see people do it, it's like, oh, look at them doing muscle-ups. That looks so easy. I'm going to try it. Yeah. And you get nowhere near it. And it's like, I remember them, like, Stu, he was there like, just backstroke, just breaststroke. And like, mate, like, I'm not doing nothing. Like, I'm going down. And then, yeah, knee-height water, and I nearly drowned.
Yeah, because that's the way you ended up stopping drowning then was standing up.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That was the funniest part of it. But anyway, we digress, as I generally tend to on these. So you wanted to get out of the military. You'd obviously served a good chunk of your life in there, learnt a lot. And CF17 was where you trained. So, like, how did it look then? How did you end up in the situation as owner of the gym?
So it was a case of I wanted to take on more responsibilities. I wanted a salary as such. And then I said to the owners, the past owners, like, you know, what can I do to take over more? And then they looked into me buying into it. And then they've had this gym for over 10 years. The current owner turned into osteopath. Well, got quoted as osteopath. So he kind of like he wanted different things. And then they just offered me the gym. And I was like, you know, we're setting up this separate business, focusing on other stuff now. Do you want to buy it? And I was like, absolutely. So I sold my house, sold my car, sold everything to get it going.
And, you know, when you, it was interesting because last guest was Elliot, as we've just talked about previously. Project's been his from day one. So he's built it up as he wanted it, all him. So when you come into a gym and then obviously buy it, you're buying somebody else's baby, somebody else's project, somebody else's standards, somebody else's members. Is that difficult to do that? Because I know what your mentality is. You'll come in with all these ideas and want to flip it all on its head on day one. But do you have to sort of rein yourself in a bit to make sure it's a smooth transition for your members? Because they're the most important people at the end of the day.
Yeah, it probably annoys members how much I ask for feedback. Everything I do, like I want feedback, questionnaires going out. What do you think about this? And I probably do lean on them a little bit too much because I've learned I can't please everyone. But yeah, I still want to. But at the same time, I'm a big believer. I know what you need, and it's not what you want.
Yeah.
So it's a case of, okay, I know you want box jumps and power cleans. I'm going to give you overhead squats and, you know, pull-ups. And it's a case of now I need to explain to them why. And I'm a big, again, I want them to develop themselves. But some of them don't want to develop. They just want to come here and have fun. So, and that's the only thing. Whereas if it was mine from the start, then they would know like what I'm about. They only really know me for a year, so they don't actually understand what my long-term plans are, what my passion is, or what I want from them. I just expect everyone to know what's going on in my head.
Yeah.
And it is like, again, so it's just me now trying to communicate to the members a little bit more about the way I want. It's me. So it's not CrossFit 17 before. It's case of like, again, as a new owner, I can't replicate what the old owners did, even if I wanted to.
And you don't want to, because it's your stamp. You want to put your spin on it. Otherwise, you wouldn't buy it. You'd just work for someone, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and it's a case of, so now it's like, as much as I want to try and keep it all going as smooth as it was, I also need to realize I can't pretend to be someone I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's a case of, this is the journey that I'm going. Try and explain to them why this is what I think is the best journey for them, and get them to buy in. So that's it. It's almost like a change in culture. You know, you go to a new country and you think, why did they do that? Well, it's not bad. It's just their way.
Yeah.
So that's been the only, just that change in culture almost.
Yeah. And I guess that's it's kind of good that you kind of acknowledge that and you're asking for feedback along the way, because that's the only way that you can do it in a sort of tailored way, because obviously you've got your ideas and your way of doing things, but also at the end of the day, your paying customers are the ones that really matter. And they'll either buy in or they won't. And the problem with that is when you go on a journey, I guess, is if they don't buy in, they go somewhere else, don't they? So it's asking for feedback along the way and implementing the changes that they want to see as much as what you want to see. And that's a really positive way of looking at it. So, and
again, like I say, CrossFit, it is, like I say to everyone, like, you come to CrossFit because you want to be coached. You can go online now and get a workout.
Yeah.
You can go to JD and have, the state-of-the-art equipment. So when people say, oh, my gym's the best because, we've got the best equipment and the programming's great, it's like, well, you can get the programming online and you can get better equipment at a franchise gym.
Yeah.
So again, it's just trying to keep people on board with what you want for them almost.
Yeah, because they'll buy into you as well then, won't they? So like we've touched on a few things about your standards, and I know that like you take great pride in what you do. When we did a photo shoot here with Defiant not long ago, you were like, oh, do I need to paint this wall? Because someone's done some handstand push-ups. And it's just that you're so proud of this place. And I love that, because that's the thing that sets people apart. Like Elliot had it, you've got it. I talked about how I turn hangers just a little bit when we're at the pop-up shop. Tori's got it. And that's, I think, what sets people apart from the masses. But for you, like recently going on your honeymoon, you're just starting to get this place as you want it, starting to put your little stamp on it and everything, and then you go away for 2 or 3 weeks, which you and Soph need to go and celebrate your honeymoon. But how was that for you, leaving this here? I'm not saying it's not in good hands, because obviously you trust the people you left it with, but with that mindset of wanting everything to be perfect and not being here for that long time, so soon into your journey.
Again, it's hard, because one thing you need to realize is, like, it's like CrossFit and Greg Glassman, like CrossFit become bigger than him. It's like CrossFit 17 is bigger than me. All I do is pull the strings and pay the bills. Again, and that got proven when I went away. Okay, did the bins get taken out as quickly as I wanted to? Maybe not. Did the chalk bucket, would that have happened if I was here? Maybe not. But it's a case of, that's not the end of the world. And it's like, it is just realizing, again, like, for me, CrossFit 17, like, I'm not CrossFit 17. I'm just in charge of what happens in the 4 walls. And it is a bit of pill to swallow, because, like, sometimes you want it to be you, and you want everyone to be like, Etham's this. And it's like, you go to, like, maybe Mayhem, you go there for Rich Froning. People aren't coming here for me. They're just coming here for, obviously, what's been built. And also, like I said, I've been here just over a year. Like, there's people here 10 years before me that have then. So again, I haven't really got the right to own CrossFit 17 the way. Do you know what I mean? So it is. Yeah, but I mean, it was nerve wracking, and don't get me wrong, there was a lot of work that happened on the honeymoon. Just again, moving forward, where we're taking it, the ideas, checking in on the coaches. But again, so it was tough, but coming back now, it's like, oh great, it's working. This system works.
That's a good way to stress test it early on, isn't it? I guess, like, take you out of the business for like over 2 weeks, and it don't fall apart and everything's fine. And if the only thing that happened where a bin didn't get emptied on right day, that's a big win. So then it gives you something to build on, because now you can rely on these people. Because I'm not saying you didn't think you could before, but the proof's in the pudding, isn't it? You don't always know until you know. So yeah, that's positive, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I said, it was running for 10 years before me.
Yeah.
So again, how did that happen? Obviously, there were people in there, but again, hats off to the coaches. Like, I didn't do anything; they did it all. And it's just nice to know that they care about it enough to make sure it doesn't fall apart when I'm not here.
Yeah, because that's always a difficulty, isn't it, with any business owners. It's when when you're not in the business, how do you get staff or coaches, whoever it may be, that care as much as you about something that's not theirs? And that's about the culture you create as a business owner. That's the way you do that. And yeah, if you're on the right track with that, then that's awesome, mate. So in terms of the future or anything that you can share that's going to be coming up, are we going to be seeing any comps here? Is there going to be any different plans, any different classes or anything like that you got your eye on?
Always, I'm always trialing new things. At the moment, what we've got is we have 3 competitions a year. Last year, they were strictly in-house. This year, we might advertise them locally. Well, we've got the 3 competitions. So there's like Rise of the Ashes. That happens end of April. And again, it will be an in-house comp, but we're going to ask Project, Hexus, maybe.
So like a localized.
Yeah, and just say, right, if you want to come and have a play, you can. It's not for anyone to come and enter. Then we've got Clash of the Boxers. We did the first one last year. That was really good.
Cool, yeah.
So again, that's only 3 other gyms plus us. So it's only like 4 gyms. You'll come in, represent your gym. So your gym wins. I think that's a really cool aspect because I've not really seen it happen anywhere else. And then we have another one at the end of the year. What's it called? Rise of the Fire. I need to ask Sophie what she calls the comps. Yeah, and then so they're the 3 main ones. Last year we used those as like the community event because there's a bit of an expense to them. What I want to try and do now is have like community days that pretty much don't have as much as an expense, just from a business point of view. And I've realised that I don't need to spend money to make it good.
Yeah.
So I want to do like sports days. You know, we've got a volleyball net, we've got badminton net, we've got tug of war, we've got Berry Hill Park up the road. So we want to try and again have more community days that, again, for me, I don't need, you know, a fire breather to make a community event. So yeah, so we're going to try and get some more sports days in, I'm going to call them. And then in regards to classes, I'm always trying to squeeze as much into the program as possible. That was one of the things that went in the questionnaire, what they want to see more of. Everyone wants more gymnastic classes. Everyone wants more weightlifting. So it's just making them available at sensible times.
Yeah.
But then it's hard because, you know, so many people want it at this time, they want it at that time. So again, I am slowly trying to refine the timetable. But again, the big changes for this year are going to be introducing the sports days. What they look like now, I don't have a clue.
Sounds good fun, that's like, because like you say, it cultivates that community feeling, and when you're getting people to do stuff they don't always do, at first like, oh, it was like when we did the long jump at the Defiant Games, when I announced that workout, everyone was like, fuck, you know, you can't do that. And then on the day, everyone loved it, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, getting people to do something a bit different while part of a team, working out with people they might not necessarily do it with, is just good fun, isn't it?
Yeah, so again, so we've got that, and outside of that, it's again, just trying to keep the cogs turning, trying to keep, like, you know, high rocks, that's on the spotlight at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, do I bring in a high rocks class? It's strange because you see some gyms, Project, they do high rocks, don't they?
Yeah.
And some gyms love it, and they're busy classes. Anytime I mention high rocks here, members hate it.
Yeah, well,
They're
we
like,
left, I trained at Project yesterday in open gym, and the first class after open gym was high rocks, and it was absolutely rammed. Well, it's high rocks, I think, is like people. I think people are like put off by it by the running, but I think when I think of high rocks, I think of basically CrossFit without a barbell, and a long slog without a barbell. So if you put you know, most people that are training just because they want to train and get a sweat on, 45 minutes non-stop moving without a barbell, that's like crack to me, mate.
I mean, it's crazy because especially like we do intervals here, I can write a high rocks training workout.
Yeah.
If I didn't put high rocks training, they would love it. This is great. Yeah, more of this. Again, some of the members here, they do love a barbell, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's CrossFit, who doesn't? But as soon as I put high rock anything, I hate it.
Maybe they're just loyal to the CrossFit cause.
Honestly,
mate.
they are. But then it's
CrossFit
strange.
and high rocks is like, it's like Chesterfield and Mansfield, isn't it?
You know what I mean? But I don't get it because then some people love high rocks because it's classed as easy CrossFit. You know what I mean?
Well, basically, high rocks is just a benchmark workout, innit? It's the same one every time. So, like, you know, like a Murph or like, that's all it is. And, you know, it's just been marketed brilliantly. Like, going to an IROX event, it's insane. Like, how it runs and how it operates and how it's all on the athletes. Absolutely love it. So, yeah. So, right. before we finish by asking you to leave a question for the next guest, it's a new feature that I'm just going to introduce now that I'm going to start asking everybody. But obviously, what we stand for is defiance. So, in a really, I guess, short way, what does being defiant mean to you?
Yeah, never a straightforward answer with me. Like, there's two. Like being defiant as what it is, not being associated to the brand, for me is just like being a little terrorist. It's like being a rebel. Probably me when I was in my late teens.
When you were getting detention and having to do curls in your bedroom.
That's like me. But now, like as being defiant, if someone's defiant now, first thing I think about is the brand. I don't even think about the word in the Oxford Dictionary. And then for me, it's a completely. It's like for me, like it's almost like we mentioned about earlier about having a friend you don't speak to very often. Like the group chat, sometimes it's quiet, and another day it's fucking have like 100 messages to catch up on. I'm like, what is going off there? But like, no one feels bad because they haven't been spoken to. It's like I go to a competition with any of the ambassadors, any of the team, and it's like we saw each other like yesterday, but then 6 months might have passed since we've seen each other. So again, it's for me like Defiant. It's like family, and it's like everyone here knows. Like every member knows the brand, the Defiant, and it's like I don't push it in the face. It's just something that is close to me, so it just comes out in conversation. So again, so there's two different ways. It's like someone says it that doesn't know the brand. It's like I'm thinking straight away, me, late teens, yeah. And then there's like the CrossFit side of it, and then it's for me straight away. I just go straight to like the ambassadors, the team, the group chat, and just like that, almost that family from a distance. That
Mate, you know what? It's the first time I've introduced this feature, and someone's going to have to go a long way to beat that answer. That made me feel really proud and special when you said it. It's no longer a word in English dictionary. It's a brand, and that to me, and that's why you've been with us that long. You've been on this journey, so you do feel part of it, and so you should. You've helped us on our journey, and we'll continue to work together for as long as I can see. And I love that. That's the feeling it gives you. So to close out, you get to leave a question for the next guest, whomever they may be. So it can be anything you want. What question do you want to leave?
Again, you mentioned it at the start, and I haven't really had time to think about it. Any questions? It doesn't have to be a gym related one, does it?
No, it can be anything.
If for me, it's like if you could have one superpower, like what would it be? And when I say superpower, like if you could do one thing, so like summon like £1 million in front of you, like what would that one thing be? Because personally, I feel like that sums that person up, and again, if I went straight to financial, because a lot of people do, some people will go straight to family, maybe bring a family member back.
Oh, so rather than superpower then, so what you're saying is if you had one wish.
One wish.
Right, I can have some fun with that, because I'm going to ask, when I ask that question, I'm going to ask, oh no, it's not mine, is it? It's yours. So I'm going to say I'd ask it in a really superficial way, but then in a really meaningful way. But it depends
and that's it, and it's like, if you was to talk, it'd be completely different. Again, loads of different answers. Like from me, if I've got my business hat on, or if you catch me when I'm thinking about work, it's going to be a completely different answer to me, midday on a Saturday afternoon. But I think it will sum the individual up, and it's not really something you want to waste. So if you put me on my spot, I'm going to be like, I don't want to answer that now.
Can I ask for 10 more wishes?
Well, I mean, but that's the thing that they're going to go for. The greedy fucker. But yeah, no, it's and it's. I've always thought if someone asked me that, I don't know what you would do.
Depending on your mood on that day. Quality. Right. Cheers, mate.
Take it easy.